Xbox is going through some major changes, and the Nintendo Switch 2 is finally heating up for the month of July. These are the topics I want to talk about today. Hit subscribe if you're new. We're going to talk about Xbox first, though, because boy, oh boy, has some interesting Xbox news dropped this morning. Now, there was rumors last week that there was going to be some changes happening at Xbox, essentially changes being a code word for layoffs and industry consolidation of certain individuals within Xbox and Microsoft as a whole. Of course, Xbox and Microsoft have been purchasing up a lot of companies, spending billions and billions of dollars that they seemingly seem to have. But what about the people that actually work at Xbox? Well, this morning we found out that there are mass layoffs happening at both Xbox and Microsoft. The gaming divisions are being impacted severely. Everwild, the game from Rare that we never really knew much about at all, is now being canceled, and there's a lot to sort of digest with this story. It is being reported that essentially about 9,000 jobs, many of them being in the gaming division of Xbox, are now being removed, and these employees are being laid off. And when I talked about, the greed stuff yesterday with Nintendo and the raising of prices and stuff, when we're talking about record-breaking profits and things of that nature, it's definitely a very hard pill to swallow if you actually look at it objectively speaking. And when you're talking about Microsoft and Xbox have been seeing growth. Haven't we been told and spoon-fed all of this information about how Xbox is doing better than ever and they're putting their games on other platforms and everything's great and the future of Xbox is amazing? But you can't really say that and then lay off all of these people unless I'm actually right about my theories, unless I'm actually right about greed being a central portion of these issues. And of course, the big underlying impact thing that people just don't give enough credit about, the investors, because now you're paying off all these investors. Investors are more important than the employees who are bringing you to prominence. When things are good, you might get laid off. When things are bad, you might get laid off. There is no golden goose. There is no golden ticket to sort of get out of this. Now, Phil Spencer did actually address this with a memo, and I just kind of wanted to go over this. You could see here that jobs at places like King, which I believe did like Candy Crush and stuff. Like how is Candy Crush hurting for money? Like that thing just prints money here. But you could see here that some of the jobs are talked about here. There's been additional information, which is where the 9,000 comes. But I want to read what Phil had to say about this. Today, we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Out of respect of those impacted today, the specifics of teams of today's notifications and any organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the company in the coming days. So you're kind of sitting there like wondering right now, like, oh, well, are we impacted? Am I losing my job? Is this what's happening? I recognize this is what, man, this brings my piss to a boil. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate on effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of the moment. Here's the thing, bro. People don't want to hear this when they're losing their jobs and their entire lives are going to be changing. How did you get this success? How did your platform, your hardware, and your game map never look stronger than before? Because of the people that you have working there. This is a very bizarre thing to say. I don't understand why you're addressing the elephant in the room of Xbox and Microsoft being very successful right now, to the point of where you're hearing all of these positive things. We're talking about new hardware. The future of Xbox is better than ever. Like, you keep hearing that. And then you're letting these people go. We're working with impacted employees to provide severance plan benefits aligned with local laws, including pay, health coverage, and job placement resources to support their transition. Employees whose roles were eliminated are encouraged to explore open positions across Microsoft Gaming, where the applications will be given priority review. So you got fired from a division of Xbox, but hey, there's another division of Xbox you could come work at. Like, why would you do that? How would you feel safe if your company is doing great? Where is the job safety within all of this? And I have to go back to my main points that I was talking about with the Nintendo greed situation. The industry has become so commercialized and so big that it's become almost a problem for the people who helped get, like, the industry in the 90s and the early 2000s and even the 2010s is a very different industry than the industry we see right now. It used to be you'd sell, a couple 100,000 copies of a game and, like, you were super successful. Now you have to sell 5 million to be successful. Budgets are bigger than ever. And I understand, there is the whole element of, well, if we have too many employees, then, this is a problematic thing. But you have to go back to the COVID era, where these companies thought that gaming spending during that time frame was going to continue. It really falls and boils down to the higher ups at these companies and the constant appeasement of the shareholders, because all of that generates greed and revenue and money, because that's what they care about. That's what they focus about. It's not about making the player happy. It's not about making the gamer happy. Xbox just increased the prices of everything. You remember that? But you couldn't keep your staff members on after increasing prices of everything across, literally everything across the board, because of world market conditions. That comfort blanket, if you don't see it by now, I don't think I'll ever be able to make you see it. But now, maybe, just maybe, you'll understand what the real underlying issues of the video game industry are. The fact that Phil Spencer can sit there and say, we have more players, more games, gaming hours than ever. Our platform, hardware, and roadmap have never looked stronger. And then turn around in that same email that is telling you that you're fired, and do it with absolutely oh, sorry, I hope you understand. No. People don't understand. People should ask questions about this, because it's honestly not a good look. And I feel like we're just scraping the tip of the iceberg with this. I feel like we're going to hear more about what is happening at Xbox, more people being laid off, more projects essentially being canceled as the hours and days go on. But I just wanted to talk about this topic because I felt like it was a perfect follow-up to yesterday's video talking about Nintendo changing prices of things, including digital services in Canada, but using that market conditions sort of, blanket that all these companies use, when in actuality, you can't say that when you're making record-breaking profits and things are going better than ever. Let me know in the comments section down below, though. Are you surprised by this? Do you think Xbox got a little bit too big for its britches, buying up all these companies? Or what do you think is the main point of this and why it is happening? Now, the second topic is a bit more positive, because I like my Nintendo Switch 2 quite a bit, but I'm definitely ready for some more games. I'm definitely ready for some more games, some more things to check out, and some more experiences to have on the system. Mario Kart World is cool. I'm pretty much done with Cyberpunk. Street Fighter's a pick up and play game. What is next? And while we wait for this Nintendo Direct to take place, hopefully in the month of July, as it's been rumored, July has quickly been heating up with releases for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I kind of wanted to shine a spotlight on this, because now I'm actually really looking forward to this month when it comes to bigger game titles. Of course, the first game that we have to talk about is Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, we got a direct for this. The game, I think, looks absolutely fantastic. We're hearing rumors that this was done by the Mario Odyssey team, and we got some hands-on previews of this game, and pretty much across the board, except for like one or two outliers, people were very impressed with this game, essentially saying that it is like a Odyssey 2 style game, which is exactly what I want. Some outlets are even saying that it is the first killer app for the Nintendo Switch 2 and arguably the best game that they have played thus far on the system. And I think that's a very positive thing because when you're talking about a 3D Donkey Kong game, I really feel like it could have gone one or two ways, because the only one we have before this was Donkey Kong 64, which nostalgia allows people to love that game. But if you actually play that game in the modern era, it's just it's not that good. Like, I'm sorry. It suffers from issues like frame rate. The platforming isn't very precise. It is very ambitious, but it's a little bit too ambitious for what the N64 was capable of. But I think Donkey Kong Bonanza looks absolutely fantastic, and all of these positive previews, including the ones that are hyping this game up to essentially be the first killer app for the Switch 2, definitely have me very, very excited for this game. And of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out on July 17th. But that's not the only game that's coming out. On July 18th, we have a game called Shadow Labyrinth that does have a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game that was announced to be running at 4K 60 in docked mode. Now, Shadow Labyrinth is kind of like a Metroidvania, but for Pac-Man. Like, it's a very strange looking game, but I think it's something that actually looks pretty cool. Like, I think this has hidden gem potential. You know, this is something that, you know, you might not put a lot of eyes on initially, especially considering it's coming out the day after Donkey Kong Bonanza. But I think there is a lot of hidden gem potential with this game because it's essentially taking Pac-Man and making it in a completely different, you know, a darker, a grittier style of a game. Do I think it's going to be the best game ever? No, far from it. But I do think it can be a very fun experience. And the fact that there is a dedicated Switch 2 edition of the game that I believe you can actually upgrade for free from the Switch 1 version of the game should you buy it on the Switch 1 and then get a Switch 2 later on down the road. Those are kind of business practices that need to be applauded, I feel. You know, we're in this era where, you know, companies are making you rebuy games on the system and, you know, not giving you a clear pathway to upgrade, which, like I've said before, you know, that is a nice thing. It's not something that companies necessarily need to do or anything like that. But I think people are kind of sleeping on Shadow Labyrinth, and that's okay because I will make a video on it when it comes out or a little bit after it comes out because I'll be playing as a monkey because monkeys are cool. But July 18th, I'm definitely looking forward to that game. And then yesterday, we had a game announcement that, you know, this won't hit for many people. I'm going to chop up this trailer as well because of the, you know what? I'm going to show gameplay from the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and sprinkle in some of the trailer. And that is WWE 2K25 is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 on July 23rd. And honestly, I think the trailer itself looks really good. And I know what you're saying. RGT, why aren't you showing the trailer in its entirety like you've done with the other two games? Because essentially what's going to happen is the following. They're going to air that trailer on like USA for SmackDown, and then USA is going to do a copyright claim on the video because they aired it on television, even though the trailer is available on YouTube. I'm telling you, people, YouTube is a weird beast. But I think this version of the game looks really good. It is the entire version of the game. Now, there is some questions about how this is going to work. It looks like it's a code in a box if you go the physical route. Some people seem to think it's going to be a game key card. I don't know which is the lesser of two evils for people. I would think a game key card's a better option than a code in a box because you can't really sell that code in a box after the fact. But people are definitely very upset about it. The game file size, I believe, is 75 gigs. So, of course, it's not going to fit on an actual cartridge. But you know, I get it. WWE 2K25 is a game that's already released on other platforms. I made a video on it Of course, when it came out in the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, I did really enjoy my time with the game. I think it is pretty fun. Now that the community building aspect of it, like the creator wrestlers and stuff, have been established, hopefully there is cross-platform with the created wrestlers so that people can download those. And with the subsequent DLC that has come out, now I can make my dream tag team on the go. And that is, of course, Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks and Hulk Hogan. And they're going to win every single belt in the game. And variations, it'll be Hollywood Hogan. I'm going to put Jalen Brunson in the NWO. But I think this is good because they did show some gameplay of it running on the Switch 2 in the initial trailer, and it looks really good. I wouldn't say it looks quite as good as like the Xbox Series X version or the PlayStation 5 version, but it's pretty damn close. This isn't going to be a situation, I feel, like we saw with WWE 2K18. This looks like a very quality port, and yes, it is coming out much later than the others, but at least they're getting it out now, so there is some wrestling to enjoy, and then you can play 2026 next year when it comes out. But July 23rd, this game comes out, so those are 3 games that now I will be buying for the Switch 2 and obviously doing content on them because I feel like there will be people very interested in this. So I'm glad, I'm actually looking forward to July right now because initially it just felt like Donkey Kong was coming out and there was kind of questions about like length and quality and what you could actually do with the game. But it seems like there is much more than meets the eye with that game. Shadow Labyrinth, I think, can be an absolute hidden gem. And now I get my wrestling game on the Switch 2, and I might have to make a call. I might have to make a call to an old friend of mine that helped me and was in my Switch 1 WWE 2K20 or 18 video. Maybe we'll have to link up for a little something here. We'll see. But that's what I got for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section down below. What games are you looking forward to in the month of July for the Switch 2? What do you think about the Xbox situation? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.